Namaste. Hello and welcome to the Kundalini podcast. That was Zen. This is Tao. I'm Vivek Govekar. As you can see, I have changed the setting of this video altogether. And I'm in a kayak rowing away. Thought I'd just, make a video here. I'm just scared I'm gonna drop the phone in the water. So, this is episode 53. What am I going to talk about? I got a whole lot of comments and questions. So I'm going to try and sum up some of these things that people have asked me into one video. One is related to someone asked me about when I talk about the pain and the trauma that I go through, or someone goes through when they awaken their Kundalini. Exactly what do they mean? What are they going through? Well, the answer to that question is, and that person asked me if it was physical trauma, like does it hurt? Yes, if the blockages are not cleared and your back is constantly in pain, you're going to have some physical pain. But that's not the painful part. I'm sorry, I keep changing to sunglasses because it's really hot. It's better with the sunglasses on. I'm going to leave them on. So, here's an example that I can give that will explain this trauma, the mental trauma that people go through after Kundalini awakening, and why it happens so intensely. This has been briefly mentioned in other videos, but I'm going to expand on that and go into more detail. When you are in a normal, unawakened state, okay, you have your ego, you have your mind, and there is a layer, a covering that is guarding everything that is inside. It has a dual purpose. It both protects you, the real self, from outside trauma. There is an armor. Because if you have gone through some bad experiences in life, or just going through life in general, the lessons you learn, do this and you'll be rewarded, do that and you'll be punished. All that has become this layer of like a coating over your real self. When the Kundalini awakens, that layer is peeled off. The analogy I can give is that of maybe an orange or a banana. Okay. Again, just an analogy, just an example. But if you look at a banana, it's got a thick peel on the outside. When you peel it open and you take the fruit inside and try to press it hard, it squishes. It's smushy and soft. But if you do that with the peel on, it is relatively firm. It's not going to damage the fruit as much unless you completely destroy it. So that's the purpose of the peel, to keep it covered so the stuff inside is not squished easily. When you go through life and you deal with everything that you have to deal with in life, you have that thick armoring on the outside. What happens with the Kundalini awakening is that peel is taken off. And now you're naked. You're like that, the stuff inside, the fruit inside of the orange peel or the banana peel, that can be easily crushed. Except, here's where the analogy breaks down. In case of the human mind, the purpose of doing that, why the Kundalini energy breaks open that shell, is so that you could become stronger. All that armoring, because it's protecting you, that's a good thing. But it's also keeping what's on the inside from exploring new things, from rising up to its fullest potential. And unless that is removed, you cannot make further progress. The other way of looking at it is this. For emotional growth to happen, you cannot be stuck in the same old patterns. So that covering can also be seen as a weave. If you look at something that's woven, it's made up of threads, different threads that have been woven, and it makes one piece of fabric. Think of your past experiences as each one of those threads. And they've made this covering, this sheath. But that sheath doesn't allow what's inside to grow beyond the coverings of that sheath. What the Kundalini energy does first appears very bad, is very traumatic, and you think, wow, why is all this bad stuff happening to me? In a physical sense, now your body is not in control. Now you have this energy that's controlling you. In a mental sense, now you're completely naked, and people will laugh at you. I mean, initially, people would be concerned about my mental wellness because why is this person so shaken up? Some small amount of criticism and he takes it so badly, he breaks down, starts crying. Something that is just normal. People laugh and joke about a lot of things. Why are you so touched by it? And the answer is manifold. In my particular case, as I've said in the past video, I wasn't able to see the attacks coming from people. People just making comments and jokes, talking about some other person, but really referring to you. And saying nasty things wouldn't register. But somewhere in your subconscious mind, it is registering. Your outside armoring is keeping it out. Like, oh, no, this is not about me. Oh, they're not making fun of me. If you have a big ego and you keep resisting that, that actually has a much more detrimental effect. If you say, yeah, this is what these people are saying about me, here's how I respond back, which is what I do now. It goes away. They said something, it didn't accumulate and make an impact. You didn't feel your self-esteem lowered. But years of that happening to you has accumulated, and when that shell breaks down, now you're taking every hit. It's penetrating deep within, and you're forced to confront it. You're forced to deal with it to make yourself healthier eventually. But you have spent years not dealing with that, just overlooking what people are saying and going about your own business. And people have figured it out. It's like, you can just come keep saying this to this person, bring him down a few notches, and he's not as effective as he could have been in the past. So the criticism that I could deal with effectively, I thought, in the past, and keep functioning, was actually not the healthy way of doing it. The healthy way of doing it is to let it penetrate, respond to it appropriately, deal with that problem, find a solution, and become stronger as a result of it. Some criticism is constructive. You take it and say, yeah, you know what, I need to change this. Some is malicious, people who are just trying to bring you down. That has to be taken, responded to also. And because those muscles had not been developed in me for a long time, initially it was very harsh. Similar things will happen to other people. Now, how does this help someone who has not had a Kundalini awakening? Another comment I got was about, like, hey, you make all these videos about people who have awakened and giving them advice. That's right. I first started making them that way, and I had no idea that so many people would follow and start listening and respond to what I was saying. So initially it was meant only for those people, like, hey, if you are having this experience, I've had it, and let me help you with that. But now I've started making them for people with an awakening, but also for people without an awakening. So what people with an awakening who are struggling with this mental trauma can take from this is, have patience, work with the process. The initial trauma and now the criticism, the bad things, or even minor things will hit you much harder because that layer has been peeled off. And that will help you build a stronger layer if you go along with the energy. See this as something good that is being done to you. One of the examples I've given in one of my blog posts is that of a gangrene. If you have a gangrene on your body and the surgeon removes it, there's a lot of blood. There's an invasive surgical procedure that is needed. You will be even more sick for a little while recovering from the surgery. But removing that gangrene is going to help you. It's going to make you healthier eventually. That gangrene, in our case, mentally, is our ego. The ego has a hold on you. It wants you to see yourself only as certain things, prevents you from taking criticism the right way, inflates your ego when there is flattery or someone saying nice things to you. And all of that junk that accumulates, the fabrics that is woven from all these threads that are you're being bombarded with for so long, your entire lifetime, eventually needs to come off. And that is what is happening. Another thing I would like to say, I read a wonderful passage from a book by Gopi Krishna, another awakened master from the past. His book, Awakening of Kundalini. He says, remember though, even though you want the ego to not have a hold on you, or your mind to not be a tyrant ruling you, they are still necessary. Okay? What you're trying to do, or what the Kundalini is trying to do, is remove the hold on the ego, of the ego, on your true self. Remove the tyranny of the mind where it is just chattering, throwing thoughts, and you're going along. And understand that the mind is subservient to the inner self, to the true self. Okay, so that is for people who are going through an awakening. People who have not had an awakening yet and are working on the Kundalini process can also benefit from this. Because now you know from the point of view of someone who is awakened, and this has been a common theme in all of my videos, is how to take away the tyranny of the mind, how not to get fooled by the ego, and how to work on that. So, the one takeaway from this video is be brave enough to face your fears before they accumulate too much and create this covering that is so hard to remove afterwards. Face your fears, face your shortcomings, overcome them, and don't run away from problems, because then once they accumulate to that point where it has to be violently taken off, and that period right after the awakening is going to be really harsh, you don't want that. Face your problems. If you have issues with someone that you're afraid to deal with, go and face them head on. Confront those people. Don't be violent, don't be offensive, but confront it to the point that you are protected. Your psyche is protected. If you have done harsh things, pull yourself back a little bit. Anything that allows the ego to lead you in a certain direction that makes you feel good, but isn't really nurturing your soul, your true self, needs to be assessed, analyzed, observed, and discarded or modified to the point that it helps you. So the mind is absolutely fantastic as long as it is under your control of the true self. The ego is an important step for you to have your self-confidence, to go out in society and do things, but not when you are doing everything at the bidding of your ego. And at any cost, you have to preserve that domination. No, I'm good, I'm great. And no matter what someone says to improve you, criticizes you, to help you grow, and you're now running away from that. And it's a daily lesson that I'm learning, still learning every single day. Okay, so it's a balancing act. People going through an awakening need to let that process happen and get better as a result of that. People without an awakening can start working on that and slowly start doing it with mindful awareness, with meditation, with being adventurous, being spontaneous, going beyond your comfort zone, learning to appreciate the point of view of someone who you may not agree with, attempt something that you may not have done in the past, seeing your own shortcomings before you judge others. And all of these things are in scripture, all of these things have been said by people, but this is the reason why. Do you want to get further into an illusory state, or do you want to go deeper within? And that path is tough. There is no easy way out. So, good luck on your process. I'm gonna be on this wonderful lake, rowing my kayak. Peace and love to everyone. Thank you for watching. Be well.